In the long history of Arda, few names burn as brightly or as fiercely as Fingolfin, High King of the Noldor. In a world shaped by immortal powers and marred by ancient strife, Fingolfin rose as a figure of unmatched courage, his defiance cutting through the shroud of fear that Morgoth had cast over all of Middle-earth. His deeds were not born from reckless pride alone, but from a deep and enduring commitment to his people and to a vision of freedom that no shadow could extinguish. And in the end, it was this unyielding resolve that drove him to stand alone before the dark enemy himself, an act so bold that even Morgoth, the first Dark Lord, would not forget it. Before we journey further into the story, if you could take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, it would help us bring more tales from Arda to life. Now let's return to the story. Born in the blessed lands of Aman, Fingolfin was the second son of Finwë, the High King of the Noldor. From his earliest days, he exhibited traits that would come to define him: keen judgment, unmatched skill in both arms and counsel, and a will that refused to bow to injustice or tyranny. Unlike his elder half-brother Feanor, whose fiery spirit often led to rash decisions and catastrophic consequences, Fingolfin embodied a tempered strength. His leadership was not just inherited through birthright, it was earned through unwavering loyalty to his people and an iron determination to defend them. The rebellion of the Noldor against the Valar, spurred by Feanor's relentless pursuit of the Silmarils and vengeance against Morgoth, set the stage for Fingolfin's trials. While Feanor's wrath and pride drove the initial exodus from Aman, Fingolfin became the stabilizing hand, guiding his followers through treacherous lands and turbulent seas to Middle-earth. He bore not only the weight of leadership, but also the burden of foresight, understanding the depth of Morgoth's malice and the peril his people would face. Fingolfin's courage was not merely the courage of arms, but a moral courage that inspired all who followed him. Time and again, he stood in the shadow of despair, confronting impossible odds. His decisions were informed by knowledge of the world and a wisdom that surpassed that of many of his peers. The history of the First Age, as chronicled in the Silmarillion and further explored in the history of Middle-earth, paints him as a paragon of resilience and bravery, a figure whose very name became a rallying cry against the darkness. The tension between Feanor and Fingolfin shaped the destiny of the Noldor. Feanor's impulsive actions, the burning of the ships at Losgар, the kinslaying at Alqualande, forced Fingolfin into a position where he had to repair rifts, console the grieving, and prevent further calamity. Despite the shadow of his brother's fury, Fingolfin never wavered from the principles that defined his kingship: honor, justice, and the protection of his people. It was this steadfastness, coupled with unmatched martial prowess, that earned him a reputation feared even by Morgoth, the most powerful of all beings in Middle-earth. Fingolfin's journey into Middle-earth was a trial unlike any other. When the Noldor departed Aman, they crossed perilous seas and hostile lands, driven by a combination of vengeance, hope, and the desire to reclaim what was stolen. Unlike Feanor, whose ambition often blinded him, Fingolfin approached the journey with measured caution, aware of the dangers that lay ahead. His path was fraught with obstacles: treacherous weather, hostile tribes, and the lingering shadows of Morgoth's spies, who who sought to weaken the exiled elves before they could even set foot upon the lands of Middle-earth. Upon reaching the shores of Beleriand, Fingolfin's role as a leader became immediately apparent. His followers were weary from the journey and disheartened by the losses suffered along the way. Yet Fingolfin, through both words and example, instilled a sense of purpose and resilience. The chronicles describe him as a figure of inspiring presence, tall, noble, and unyielding, with eyes that seemed to see not only the present danger, but also the potential for victory against insurmountable odds. It was here, on the fields and rivers of Beleriand, that Fingolfin's reputation as a warrior began to rival his renown as a king. Morgoth's power was vast and terrifying. From his fortress of Angband, he commanded legions of orcs, balrogs, and other fell creatures. Many heroes who confronted him were destroyed or broken in spirit, yet Fingolfin did not flinch. During the First Battle of Beleriand, he led his armies with strategic brilliance, defending key strongholds and rallying his troops when despair threatened to overtake them. His presence on the battlefield was said to embolden allies and strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. Even in the face of the overwhelming might of Morgoth's forces, Fingolfin demonstrated a rare combination of tactical acumen, personal courage, and unbreakable determination. It is crucial to understand the scale of Fingolfin's bravery in context. Morgoth, the Vala who had entered Arda with unmatched power, had already corrupted and dominated countless lands. His strength was so immense that even the greatest heroes of the Noldor often hesitated at the thought of confronting him directly. Yet Fingolfin did not merely resist, he actively challenged the Dark Lord's dominion. On several occasions, he led daring raids against Angband, striking with precision and retreating before his forces could be overwhelmed. These acts were more than mere displays of martial skill. They were declarations that Morgoth's reign was neither absolute nor contested. Perhaps the most striking testament to Fingolfin's courage came in his final confrontation with Morgoth. After years of war, losses, and suffering, Fingolfin rode alone to the gates of Angband, challenging the Dark Lord to single combat. The Silmarillion recounts this encounter with reverent awe. Fingolfin struck Morgoth 7 times with his sword Ringil, driving the great Lord of Darkness to retreat in pain and anger. Though Fingolfin ultimately fell beneath Morgoth's hammer, his defiance left an indelible mark on Middle-earth. Even Morgoth, the embodiment of terror, feared the courage and skill of this elf, who stood unflinching before him when no one else dared.
Fingolfin's death at the gates of Angband did not mark the end of his influence. In fact, it solidified his status as one of the most legendary figures in the history of Middle-earth. His courage became a beacon to the Noldor, inspiring them to continue the fight against Morgoth despite overwhelming odds. The memory of his last ride, alone yet unyielding, was recounted over and over in songs and tales, a reminder that true valor is measured not by the likelihood of survival, but by the steadfastness of the heart. Following Fingolfin's fall, the leadership of the Noldor passed to his son, Fingon, who inherited not only his father's title, but the weight of his legacy. Fingolfin's strategic wisdom and unwavering commitment to justice provided a guiding framework for the Noldor during the darkest years of the First Age. His insistence on unity, honor, and perseverance influenced every major military campaign against Morgoth thereafter, from the rescue of Madros at Thangorodrim to the prolonged sieges of Angband itself. Even the chronicles emphasize that without Fingolfin's example, the Noldor might have fragmented under the pressure of internal disputes and the relentless assault of Morgoth's forces. Fingolfin's character is frequently contrasted with that of his elder half-brother Feanor. While Feanor's brilliance and creativity brought forth the greatest jewels and weapons of the elves, his pride and impulsiveness often led to tragedy, including the kinslaying and the loss of the Silmarils. Fingolfin, on the other hand, combined skill with humility, courage with foresight. He was a king who did not seek glory for its own sake, but who accepted responsibility for the well-being of his people. Scholars analyzing the Silmarillion and related texts argue that Fingolfin embodies Tolkien's ideal of nobility, courage tempered by wisdom, power guided by justice, and leadership defined by service rather than ambition. The psychological and symbolic impact of Fingolfin's final duel cannot be overstated. By striking Morgoth 7 times, the High King demonstrated that even the mightiest evil could be challenged. Tolkien's notes suggest that this moment was intended to illustrate the limits of power and the enduring strength of moral and personal courage. Even in death, Fingolfin becomes a symbol of resistance, a reminder that the actions of a single resolute individual can echo across ages, inspiring hope where despair seems absolute. Legends of Fingolfin's deeds extended far beyond the battlefield. In cultural memory, he became a model of leadership, influencing not only his sons and followers, but later generations of elves. Tales of his wisdom, martial skill, and bravery were sung by minstrels and chronicled in histories that survived even the tumultuous upheavals of Middle-earth. His life also served as a narrative counterpoint to Feanor's. While both were powerful, only Fingolfin's courage was tempered by moral clarity, earning the respect of friends and foes alike. Through his legacy, the Noldor maintained a standard of courage and honor that guided them throughout the First Age. Even in times when Morgoth's shadow seemed insurmountable, the memory of Fingolfin's deeds reminded them that fear could be confronted, tyranny challenged, and that even the most terrifying darkness could not completely extinguish the light of bravery and justice.
Fingolfin's story is ultimately one of defiance, sacrifice, and enduring inspiration. It reminds us that even in the face of insurmountable odds, the bravery of one individual can alter the course of history, leaving a legacy that time cannot erode. His life and deeds endure as a testament to the power of courage, the importance of honor, and the timeless struggle between light and darkness in Tolkien's world. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for watching.